All right, welcome everybody to this month's meeting for the Michigan Azure and Microsoft 365 user group. Today is November 18th, and myself and Elizabeth welcome you to the meeting. So just to go over the group's mission and what we're out here to accomplish as a group, as a user group, is create an inclusive environment for those interested in cloud technologies, both on Azure as well as Microsoft 365. We want to provide content from global community members on a monthly basis and expand the knowledge of within both Michigan and the U.S. as well as around the world. And everybody's welcome to share sessions and share with their colleagues and contacts. Bring people in, the more the merrier. And no sales pitches. We are looking at just rich information that's going to add value to everybody and their job. And the link is available for all these sessions are recorded and placed on the YouTube channel. So you can certainly go and find that YouTube channel. It's under my Captain Hyperscaler YouTube channel. So you can certainly go on YouTube and find that as well. And just some upcoming dates. We do have a user group website, so you can find dates that are coming up. We have a special session coming up in a couple weeks with Wim Matheson and Karel de Winter on 7 habits of that any Azure admin must have. And then we have another December session with Peter de Tender on containers. We have Shabaz Dar in January on Windows Virtual Desktop, lessons from the pandemic battlefield. And then another session. So we've had a lot of interest in people wanting to do sessions for these. So I've actually added a couple in the days, and our times have adjusted. You can go to the website, get to the meetups page, and find what times the different sessions are. And hopefully the flexibility and the difference in timing will be better for the attendees to make it to these sessions. Another couple quick things. I've been doing some YouTube series on Azure security and Azure network services, and those can be found on my YouTube channel as well. So let's get to today's guest. Today's guest is Victor Rodriguez. He is a enterprise digital specialist for data and AI at Microsoft. He's been over the last decade driving success through Azure infrastructure, through data and analytics platforms, and Azure AI platforms. He is, as I stated before, we keep having this a globally inclusive group, and he is out of Dublin and works with the MIA Enterprise Digital Group for Microsoft. And what is his session today? Today he's going to talk about how to monitor refrigerated trucks using IoT Central and PowerBI. So a lot of interest around how to get real-time information and how to utilize streaming information from different internet-connected devices. And this scenario, and Victor is going to provide us with a real-life scenario where we are going to use telemetry data from IoT devices that are coming in through IoT Central, and how we're going to present that in a rich dashboard that's going to be able to be utilized for analysis by both technical users as well as IT users. So with that, I will turn it over to you. Let me stop sharing, and you can go ahead and share, Victor, and welcome.
Thank you, Dwayne. Thank you for having me today. So let's first start by sharing my screen. Okay, so as Dwayne mentioned, I'm going to talk today about monitoring refrigerated trucks using the IoT Central and PowerBI. Hello everyone. I hope you are having a lovely day today. So my name is Victor Rodriguez. I'm Enterprise Digital Specialist for Data and AI at Microsoft. So my story around the IoT started, let's say, 4 years ago in Brazil. in a project for BI fleet management system, and since that project, I fell in love for the platform. Currently, I'm working on some personal projects that involve smart-off solutions and image recognition with the NVIDIA data platform. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter. So for today's agenda, I would like to talk about the Microsoft IoT product portfolio. So what is Azure IoT Central, Azure IoT Central application templates, and the solution of monitoring refrigerated truck. Also, how to export the information from IoT Central to Power BI. So let's get started. Let's check what Microsoft offers for IoT solution. At the bottom layer, Microsoft offers support for IoT and Edge device via Azure IoT Device SDK, Azure Sphere, and offering many other supporting services. On the second layer, we have a rich set of platform as a service offerings in IoT services such as Azure IoT Hub, Azure IoT Device Provisioning Service, to stick together a solution in conjunction with all other services in Azure. On the third layer, we have the offering on the solution space. Is that what's really put Microsoft ahead of other players? The solution offerings are Azure IoT Central, that we're going to talk about this today, and Azure IoT Reference Architecture and Accelerators. And you can use any of these solutions that I mentioned here in any kind of industry. And you can have peace in mind for the long term that your solution is secure with the Azure Security Center for IoT. So if you look for a typical IoT solution, you can break it down into things, insights, and actions. And the things are your IoT device and the Edge device and gateway that you have connected to the cloud. On the right-hand column, you have the actions column. So here you have a set of business applications that actually allow you visualize data coming from your IoT device and take actions based on this data. So many customers struggle with the first IoT solution because they believe that you can draw a simple arrow to connect the things from the left to the things to the right. However, if you tried this before, you know that's entirely untrue. And there's a lot of things in the middle that actually help make this work. I will show you this on the next minutes. Many solutions start with the IoT Hub, and that is allowed by a bidirectional communication between the device and the cloud, and the only set of other services that you're probably going to add, like Azure Maps that you're going to use today, or Azure Functions, or Stream Analytics, to deal with the things like hot, warm, and cold storage, or transform your data into a form that your business application need. And with all these services to manage and understand, this is a truly complex architectural scenario to build any IoT solution, and to simplify the IoT, we have Azure IoT Central. Azure IoT Central is meant to simplify the production-ready IoT solution. It's a highly secure, industry-focused, and offers a predictable pricing model. They take care of all this IoT plumbing I was just talking about. So what is the IoT Central? IoT Central is a hosted app platform that the easiest way to get your device connected to the cloud, keep your device connected to a centralized device management where you can view and transform your data and bridge the gap to your business application. So IoT Central is supported by three foundational pillars. First, you get connected. Azure IoT Central connects your IoT device to the cloud faster than any other platform. You can find a new device that matches your solution in Azure Certified for IoT Device Catalog. Stay connected. We understand how hard it is to keep the device connected and healthy. Reconfigure and update the device with the centralized device management. And transform. Your connectors and extensibility APIs bridge the gap between your business application and IoT. A direct connection between for your IoT data and your decision makers. And along with a core set of features with IoT Central that we launched last year, like edge support, the monitoring rule, the trigger actions, and the industry-focused application templates. Now we'll talk about a little bit about the IoT Central application templates. Azure IoT Central application templates is a tool for you to kickstart your IoT development and really get to that production level IoT solution more quickly. To highlight some of the templates we have, for example, the connected logistics, smart water, and remote patient monitoring, just to make some of these templates. For now, I will focus on how we can monitor refrigerated trucks using IoT Central and using a code path to analyze of the data extracted using the Power BI. Let's understand first the scenario. Suppose you run and operate a fleet of refrigerated trucks. You have a number of the customers within a city, and based that you operate from. So you command each truck to take its content and deliver to the customer. However, the cooling system may fail or any of your trucks and the content starts to melt. You need an option to instruct the truck to return to the base and then dump the contents. In order to make the decisions, you need an up-to-date picture of what's going on with your trucks. You will need to know the location of each truck on a map, the state of the cooling system, and the state of the contents. IoT Central provides all you need to handle this scenario. In the image, the colored circles show the location of the truck on the way to the customer. This is the dashboard of the IoT Central. On the other side of the scenario, to be able to, let's say, to do analysis with Azure Machine Learning or a long-term trend analysis in Power BI, you need to export your data. Let me show you how the architecture of the receiving information, then to further analyze, have this inside of the Power BI. The scenario architecture. First, we have the refrigerated trucks as a simulated device sending telemetry information to IoT Central. IoT Central is the main component of the solution that put all the pieces together. Azure Maps to provide the map service for the location of the trucks. We have the Event Hub as an integration from the IoT Central. We have also the String Analytics jobs to get the information from the Event Hub and write to Azure SQL database. The Azure SQL database that you host the telemetry to be analyzed. And of course, we have the Power BI as the report tool. Now we can jump for the demo. Let's start first by the Iot Central Overview. Let me open here. Let me refresh this page first. Okay, so
quick question for you. Quick question for you, Victor. I saw that in the workflow you had Event Hub. What maybe it might be good to mention or discuss. I know that there's an IoT Hub as well that has similar functionality. What would determine whether, since we're using IoT devices, what would determine utilizing Event Hub versus utilizing IoT Hub in this scenario?
For this specific scenario here, since we talk about the integration between IoT Central and send information, let's say, to a SQL database or directly to the Power BI or any other data source, we need to use the Event Hub in this case. Because when you think about devices and IoT Hub versus Event Hub, is simple. The first thing is, if your device requires a bidirectional communication, what I mean by bidirection is I need to send information to my device and my device needs to send information to me, I need to use the IoT Hub. Well, in the case that I just need to send information, I can use Event Hub for this case. On the specific case of this scenario that we are using the IoT Central, the IoT Hub is encapsulated inside of this solution. So since the IoT Central is a platform as a service, everything that's make a solution for IoT is inside of the IoT Central. So if you think about an IoT solution, you need the components like, for example, the IoT Hub, you need the components, let's say, device provisioning service to be able to automatically provision your device and so on. When you think about the IoT Central, everything that's device provisioning service, IoT Hub, and all the components are inside of the IoT Central. So you really have the platform as a service for IoT.
So does it have IoT Edge built into it as well? That service?
Exactly. So you can deploy edge components using the IoT Central as well. So yeah. So the IoT Central is more, if you like to say, I want to accelerate my process of have like a production ready product, because when you think about an IoT solution, you need to think about a dashboard, the way that will control the device and so on. So IoT Central accelerate this process because you have a single dashboard with everything provisioned. So you don't need to take care of every single piece of the solution. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Thank you, Victor.
Okay, so let me just jump here. Just a second. Okay, so let's check and do an overview about the IoT Central. So in IoT Central here, we have a really simple dashboard with everything that you need to configure. First, we have the dashboard of your application. So as a solution builder, you can customize the global dashboard for the operators. Depending on the user role, operator can also create their own personal dashboard. So for example, you can create a dashboard like this one, where you have the truck information, some truck state, you can add some actions here and so on. So think about the dashboard as the main control of your infrastructure of the IoT, where you can see the big picture, what's happening with your IoT device. Then we have the devices. So device enable you to manage your connected device, real or simulated. As you can see here, I have two simulated device. And basically what I'm having here is just a picture of all devices that connected from IoT Central. So, and here we have the device groups. The device groups let you view and create a logical collection of the device specified by a query. You can save this query and use the device groups through the application to perform bulk operations, for example. So if I just open here my device group, you load here all the device that's related to my refrigerated trucks. And of course, you can filter by, you can do some kind of queries here and so on. And here is the same, it's just a different set of device. So, and here we have rules. So rules enable you to create and edit rules to monitor your device. Rules are evaluated based on the device telemetry in a trigger, and you can trigger, let's say, a customizable actions. For example, you can create a new rule here that, let me select my group of the device template here. And I can, for example, every time my content state read, let's say, a value of empty, I just can trigger an email or trigger a webhook, send some to the Azure Monitor Action Group, or even the Azure Power Automate or a logic app here. So think about rules when you want to manage your device, and every time some situation happens with your device, you trigger some action. And here we have the analysis. Here we have the analysis. So analysis lets you create a custom view on top of the device data to retrieve the insights from an application. So we can select here a device group. You can select, for example, the content state in this case, and you can dump some queries related to this. For example, if I click analyze, I have the dashboard with the analysis of these insights related to telemetry that I'm looking for. So If you think about this, it's just a central location that you want to troubleshoot in something related to your device. You can come here and take a look on that. And here we have jobs. So jobs enable you to manage your device at scale by running bulk operations. For example, I can create here a new job. Let's, for example, I select my device group, and I can set, let's say, a property inside of my device. For example, optimal temperature. So think about a refrigerated truck. And I'm just, let's say, delivering this week a lot of milk. And for milk, there's an optimal temperature. So what I'm doing here is I can generate a job that, let's say, every Tuesday, the days that I'm delivering milk, to set the optimal temperature. So basically what this jobs are doing is every Tuesday connecting, running, and you set the optimal temperature for my device. Is the simple way to handle with that. So in the case that Dwayne just make the questions around what the IoT Central brings to the table versus the Event Hub or the IoT Hub, is this set of collections, this set of possibilities that you can, let's say, accelerate your process, have your solution. Because if you don't have the solution connected to your IoT Central, we need to create jobs, functions to be able to generate this kind of actions. Here we have the device templates. So device templates where you create and manage the characteristics of your device that connect to your application. So for example, here I have my refrigerated trucks, and here all the capabilities of my IoT device. In this case, it's just a custom device. But let's for a second imagine that we want to use an existing device. Microsoft already provided these device templates for a great part of these devices across the industry. So, for example, you can connect with Rigado. That's an amazing solution for your IoT, and so on. So it's a lot of possibilities. When I talk about device templates, if I select one of these templates, I will bring already to the IoT Central all the properties and telemetries and everything, the characteristic of the device to the IoT Central, so I can easily manage instead of creating every single property of my device. So here I have the data. Let me just jump for the data export legacy first. So the data export legacy enable you to configure a continuous export to external services such as storage and queues. And we have the data export as well. So the data export enables also you to configure the continuous export to external service with a couple of different like you can filter, you can reach an information, and you can add a webhook. So the main difference between those two is basically that I can filter out my information before I send outside, before I export this. That's the main difference. And of course, we have the administration, is where you can manage your application settings, customization, billing, users, and roles. So you can add here what the user is going to access this, what will be the roles, what will be the pricing that I'm running right now, what is the list of the device connected already. I can upload the device file here. So think about, you have a scenario that you have a dev environment that you provision your device, you set the profile of this device, you want to migrate it to the production, you can upload this device here. You have the API tokens if you want to connect with the IoT Central to do any kind of integration. You can customize your application, for example, the logo of your company, colors, scheme, and so on. And that's it. So let's check now how everything works, okay? Just a second. So that's one thing that's important. But even with all these features that IoT Central that I just mentioned, IoT Central just keep the information from the last 30 days. So every time your device is sending telemetry to the IoT Central will keep the information just for the last 30 days. Okay. And if you want to do any kind of analysis of the information, you can use the IoT Central. You need to export this information to do things, let's say, to do any kind of, let's say, a predictive maintenance or anomaly detection or troubleshooting something inside of your device. So that's why it's required to export your data. The feature to export data is really simple. Okay, for today, I'm going to use the data export legacy. Okay, so basically to export data, you can use 4 targets. Okay, so you can export to a blob storage. You can export to Event Hub, the one that I use today. You can export to Azure Service Bus Queue, and you can export to Azure Service Bus Topic. So let's check the configuration. Let me click here, for example, export, and export to Event Hub. And here we can select the display name, if it's enabled or not. And since you are already integrated with your Azure subscription, you can select a namespace here for your subscription. And for sure, you can use a connection string, let's say, to a different, let's say, subscription that's not the same of the IoT Central. In this case, I'm using the same for my Event Hub for my subscription and the Event Hub that I just created. And for today, we're just going to extract and export the telemetry. But of course, you can export the device information. So everything that's all the configurations, what is the aspect of the device, and so on, to this export. And you can export the device template info as well. Okay, so I will create mine. You just simply here select here. You select my Event Hub. I set it to enable, and I will just export telemetry. And just hit save. Okay, so the Event Hub is responsible to capture the events sent by IoT Central and retain this. So from here, we're saving and processing the data in this case. So what is happening right now is, since I enabled this, every single telemetry that's sent to IoT Central, you send it to Event Hub. And then we are going to process this data inside of the Azure Stream Analytics. Okay, let me just jump to Azure Stream Analytics here. Let me open. My Stream Analytics here. Okay, so the Azure Stream Analytics get the input data. In this case, we have the input data as the Event Hub that we just connect with the IoT Central, and write to an output. In our case here, the output is the Azure SQL database. It's a simple connection that you can create. For example, if you want to create a connection, an input connection from the Event Hub, you can simply come here and select the Event Hub and set the configurations that you need. Like, for example, the input alias. If you want to use the same subscription, you already get all the information required. But there's a lot of other options. For example, you can get the input information from the IoT Hub or the blob storage. And of course, when you talk about the string input, you can get information as a reference input. So information that's not string, you can use that, for example, the blob storage or a SQL database. And the output is the same case. I have multiple selections for the output. I can use Event Hub. I can use table storage, Cosmos DB, even the PowerBI as my output. In this case, I'm not using the PowerBI to connect it straight away because I'm not utilizing the service. But for sure, I can connect straight away to the PowerBI and send the telemetry that's coming from the IoT Central, send it to Event Hub, and the Event Hub send it straight away to the Power BI. But in this case, I want to analyze this information using the SQL database. Okay, and of course, the way that you send this, the way that everything's happened. So using a SQL query like, you can, let's say, transform this information, do a kind of aggregations, or even run a machine learning like anomaly detection inside of the stream analytics. In this case, as you can see here, I have an input. So basically I have a select, is a really a SQL server, a SQL query like here. So I'm writing the information to the refrigerated truck SQL database, the output that I just set in the configuration. Okay, let's start this. So let me come back to my stream analytics here. I'll click on the review. I just click then start and just hit the button start. So once we start the Azure Stream Analytics, the information starts to be written inside of the Azure SQL database. So we already have, let's just confirm here, we have the data export running. on IoT Central. We have the string analytics running. So now what we need to do now is start to running our simulate IoT device. In here, I have, let me just put this, nope. Let me just bring here my Visual Studio Code. I have 2 instances of my Visual Studio Code running here. Let me just jump to the first one. Okay, let me scroll up here that I want to highlight something. Okay, so this code here that I have here is a simple code that you can get from the Azure sample, so it's really simple. But I want to highlight some stuff here. So the first thing is how it's simple to connect a code to the IoT Central. What you need is 3 main components. First, the scope ID that you collect from the IoT Central, the ID, and the primary key. It's simple like this, and you have your code connected to the IoT Central. And for this specific scenario that we are using the Azure Maps, I need as well the Azure Maps key. It's really simple. So let's run the simulate device, but I run the command here, .NET run. Okay, let's wait a couple of seconds. Okay, so here's the device. I get the registration ID. Okay, my device is connected to IoT Central, and you can see here that I'm already sending telemetry. I use send, I think, every 5 seconds or 3 seconds here, I don't remember. But you can see that I'm sending the device ID, the contents temperature, the truck state, if the truck state is ready, the cooling system is on or off, the content state is full or not, and the location. Let me start my device number 2. So .NET run. Just wait a little bit. Okay. So if we jump now to the IoT Center, we should be able to visualize what's happening in the trucks. Since we can already see here on the console that send the telemetry of the content state, the truck state, and location. Let me just jump here back to the IoT Central. Okay, so here in my device here, this is the device management. So I open my truck number 1. And here in overview, we can see already the truck state. So my truck state is ready, it's here, stop it, it's parked already. So non-events is happening, my cooling state is off, and so on. So let's execute some action. So let's, for example, send this truck to the customer. Let's say the customer number 2. So here I have the command, and I set the customer number 2, hit the button run, and jumping back to the overview. So let's do the same with the truck number 2. Let's send a command for, let's say, customer number 4. Okay. Here in the truck number 1, you can visualize again in the overview. Let's see what's happened. Let's hope this updates. Let me try open again. Yeah, it's just because a live demo is always happening. Just wait a couple seconds. Let me double check if everything's, yeah. So start to show the information. Yeah, so as you can see, my truck state now is en route. So that means that you can visualize in the map the location of the truck. You can also notice that the cooling state and the content temperature is start to be changed here. So my cooling state is off, and the content temperature here is showing -1. And right now it's -16. My cooling state is off. Okay, And based on that, let's say, and based on that, any customer operator, let's say someone's operating this dashboard, okay? And they need to take actions and based on what's happening here. So for example, my truck state right now is in road, so that means that truck is still on road to delivering something, but I have a problem here. The problem is that my cooling state is off. As you can see here, it was -14. Now it's just increased the temperature, so it's a problem. My cooling system just turned on, that's good, so I don't need to take any action. Let's jump to the truck number 2. Let's see what's happening. So the truck number 2, it look like they already delivered something, so it's returning to the base already, my cooling system is off, and so on. I will come back here to the truck number 1. It's still on road. So let's say that you want to take some actions. For example, we feel, okay, something's happened with the truck, we need to take some actions. I have the command here that I can just simply click run, and this will do a recall. This is just an example how you can leverage of the IoT Central to build functionalities, create the commands that will help you to manage your device. Okay, so I just click recall, and maybe the truck state will change in a few seconds. Let's wait for this. Let me take a look here in the console if it changed already. Okay, yeah, see, you can see here that the truck is already returning. Let's visualize this inside of, yeah, it's returning for the IoT Central as well. So jump back in, okay, so now that we know that our truck is running and sending telemetry, we can investigate if the information is on the SQL database. So to do this, I will just jump to the Management Studio. Let me just drag and drop here, the Management Studio. Okay, and you can see here, I have my database that I'm sending information, my stage telemetry table, and I can just run the query to get the info. I will just run a simple query here. Okay, everything's here. So this, that by the timestamp, you can see that's the most up-to-date picture of my device. And also the information is on the Azure SQL database. It's straightforward to get this information connected with the Power BI. Let me show you the Power BI that I just built for this demo. And here we have a simple dashboard that's getting connected with the Azure SQL database. That there's no mistake or there's anything magical to this happen. It's really simple to connect with a SQL database. What you can do here is just simply you can come to get data, SQL Server, and you provide your information of your Azure SQL database, and you are connected to your Azure SQL database. It's really, really straightforward. So you can pass here, for example, the server, the database, ask for your recommendations, and you are connected. Okay, and here we have this connected. So let's just do a refresh here. Let's see.
Now, yep. Victor, in Power BI, I believe there's, you can put tiles and put information however you want in a customized setting. Are there templates that people can utilize as well that around certain similar scenarios like what you're putting here for IoT Central that's kind of pre-built with the maps and the charts and everything as well?
No, for the Power BI, unfortunately not. What Microsoft is doing is when you create your, let's say, application, for example, let's say that you want to use this for a retail. Inside of the IoT Central, when you select the template for retail, for example, he's already providing inside of the dashboard of the IoT Central some let's say, the main tiles for the retail. Okay. But you don't have anything for the Power BI, unfortunately. Yeah, it's something that you need to build yourself to attend your specific industry.
So can you take those tiles in IoT Central and port them directly into the Power BI dashboard? No.
Yeah, so you need to build your.
Still haven't gotten there yet, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Not there yet. Yeah, it's something that maybe we can suggest. It's something like, let's say, a button that we can export to the Power BI. Is something that will be really, really nice. But the problem is that today the Power BI, since the Power BI don't have, let's say, the connection straight away to the IoT Central. I think that's the reason they don't do anything familiar, because what they when you want to export, you don't want to, let's say, oh, now I need to update this, let's say the connection string, I want to provide the credentials and so on. So that's the reason we don't have first, because you don't have connection straight away to the IoT Central, and second, because you need to update everything inside of your dashboard.
That's what's going to keep the developers working, right?
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah. So, and I think the point of view, let's say, of the analyze the information side of the Power BI is in a different perspective. So when you talk about looking the information inside of the IoT Central, think about someone that operates the device, someone that manages the fleet. So it's someone that take actions based on that. They need, like, let's say, a real-time scenario, a real-time picture of what's happening, and take actions really, really fast based on that. And when you think about the Power BI, is someone that you need to analyze, let's say, what's happening with my trucks, why they failing, what the moment that are failing. Just to give you an example, real scenario example. I work in Brazil in a project in IoT for the bus fleet management. And basically what they are noticed, the full consumption of the bus is like consumption a lot in the middle of the day by the lunchtime. And you think maybe you wonder why. First, because in Brazil we have like a high temperatures. It's always really, really sunny in Brazil. So think about the weather is really, really, really hot in Brazil. So what happened is the bus drivers stopped by the lunchtime, and instead of turning off the engine of the bus, he'd keep on with the AC on. So that's the reason why the bus is stopped, and why the engine's still running, and why it can still consume a lot of fuel. So that the one thing that the guy that maybe is looking for the current picture say, yeah, everything's fine, the truck state or the bus state is ready, no problems at all. But someone that did go to the Power BI and start to analyze this, they can see that this specific moment happen, let's say, in a specific area, in the specific time of the day, and he can drive the insights from there. So that's the reason the Power BI is here, is like, let's say, to analyze the trends on the information and take actions based on that. So that kind of thing, that's helped a lot. So this dashboard is really one just for an example, just to give a couple of the styles. So I have the events by cooling system state, I have the events by content state, event by truck state, and again, when you think about a company that work with this kind of product, it's critical to understand when the problem is happening and to act quickly. So they can just really can come here. I want you the picture of the moment of what's happening in the specific area, what's the reason, and I can just notice, or I can have the overall what's happening. For example, to analyze the content state. For example, in 30% of the time they are melting. What's the reason? What the predictive maintenance I can run with the trucks or the drivers, and what actions I need to do based on this information. So that kind of thing that builds, let's say, the entire solution of an IoT scenario, something that you can take actions at the moment and you can take actions later. That's the main reason of the building this entire solution. So I hope you guys like the presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm free, and if you have any question, Dwayne, just hit me.
Yeah, no, great. I mean, this is a great real-time look at how IoT can be utilized for business effectiveness. The effectiveness of tracking the delivery state of your trucks, understanding how especially refrigerated trucks that have, like you said, milk in it. Could go bad before it gets there, understanding the amount of time that it's taking for trucks to get from point A to point B, all of this, this data that the business can then utilize. I like your example as well of somebody stopping and running the truck, fuel efficiency on the trucks and things like that. That having connected vehicles and connected devices, and telemetry that's coming from all of that information and providing real-time data becomes very important to the business as as we move forward. And it just shows how everybody how everything becoming connected can make you more efficient as a business as well. So, and utilizing all of these tools that are built into the Azure environment just makes it really easy to get there. So I appreciate it, Victor. It's a great presentation, and I had been looking forward to it for a couple months since we put this on the schedule, because this is just some really cool real life data that's really I think anybody that listens to this and tunes into this can relate to the fact, if they're in any kind of procurement type of business, how this can relate to them in one way or another. Might not be refrigerator trucks, but it might be just any kind of delivery. It could be landscaping. It could be it could be just it could be lumber delivery. It could be anything. It doesn't have to necessarily be telemetry. It could just be how efficient the trucks are in performing their deliveries and analyzing why this truck is doing more deliveries in a day than the other one, and understanding the weight of the truck and the amount of time it's going to take, so that you can better schedule your deliveries as well. You might be able to take this data, take the data that you're getting from IoT Central and putting into Power BI and analyze that, hey, if we do this, we can deliver this much more materials in a day and increase our profit this amount of money. So especially with where we're going and what the accelerated by the pandemic this year, delivery services are becoming more and more important. I mean, you think of probably the business that in the United States that DoorDash is doing for delivering restaurant food, because people aren't dining out. How can they increase the amount of meals that they get out to people, and how can they get it out quicker so it's warm when it gets there, and things like that? There's a whole bunch of scenarios that you can think of how IoT can be utilized to analyze your business and continue to find ways to be more efficient and be more profitable and generate more revenue from whether you're an enterprise, a large company that's doing huge amounts of delivery like General Motors, or a grocery store that has has refrigeration trucks, or whether we're whether you're a small business. You could utilize Azure on a consumption basis, and it's not going to cost you much to create this type of scenario.
Exactly. I think especially with the COVID-19 situation, there are more and more companies that say adopting the smart off solutions. This IoT Center is really handy. As I mentioned, one of these vendors of the IoT device from the US, the name is Rigado. They have a really good set, let's say, start pack for companies that are looking for implementing smart off solutions. Let's say if you want to make reservations from desks, or analyze the temperature of the environment and so on, they have a really good start pack, and is already connected with the IoT Central. So if any of your company or any other company is looking for, like, I want to be my environment, be my workplace smart, you can do and connect with the IoT Central in minutes, and you have these solutions already deployed. That's the IoT solution came from, to accelerate this process.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you taking the time here today. And yep, there's some resources here on the page. I know another great resource that I like is the Azure Reference Architectures site. Is really good if you're trying to determine where you're planning on going and what how you might get there. Those reference architectures are very helpful.
Amazing.
As a starting point to give you an idea of what the best practices are. They're based on real-time scenarios like this that can give you a good foundation to on what you want to do, as well as you're thinking about it as a IT professional, or even a business trying to visualize and think about that. So
exactly.
So very cool stuff.
Thank you so much again, Dwayne. If you at any point you saw anyone requesting more IoT scenarios or IoT sessions, I have one more that can be really, really interesting, that a little bit more advanced in a sense that we are using Iot Central as well, but you are using the IoT Edge device with an AI model connected. So you can do, let's say, image recognition live with NVIDIA device. So that's one is really nice, that someone wants to implement image recognition, video streaming analysis in real time, and using the IoT Central as well.
That definitely interested in you submitting that one, and we'll get you on the schedule for that one. Definitely, Victor. That sounds like a fun one as well.
Very good, very good.
All right, great. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody for listening in this week, and feel free to connect with both myself as well as Victor on social media, and as well as our webpage, the Twitter handle for the user group. And we'll see everybody. The next meeting is on December 2nd, and we'll have a great presentation on the 7 habits every Azure admin should have. So thanks again to Victor, and I appreciate everybody's time today, and have a great day.
Thank you, Dwayne. Bye-bye.